Back again for another video. On today's topic, we will be talking about rogue hoes. Oh yeah. So on this topic, it's seen from the eyes of the underworld, the world that many of you are not intimately aware of or in tune with. And I'm not going to talk about it specifically from that world. It's just going to be a paralleling to explain what you all see currently in the environment. And this is once again from my own perspective, anecdotal experiences and things that I have been through. And of course, how I see things now. In regards to how the women are, as you can see, they are very rebellious against anything that, and this is specifically talking about BWs. They're very rebellious against anything that black men have to say or anything that black men stand for. But they seem to think that they have a system that supports each other and everyone around them. There's a reason why men were put in charge inherently throughout society, no matter where you go in the world. This is for a reason. And once you mess with that reason and it becomes unbalanced, then it creates chaos and destruction perpetually. Because women, they build and destroy over and over again. But when there's perpetual chaos, when there's perpetual destruction, there is no building. It's just burned everything down to the ground. But as you can see, we are in a downward spiral as a community. People are saying things that are getting better and things are increasing. No, not really. Once again, our boys are failing, and it's getting worse. And these are supposed to be the leaders of the community. If you don't have strong leaders of the community, then you'll be invaded. And what I mean by invaded with ideologies, because we don't have, the men are the ones who structure the ideologies, and the women are the ones who perpetuated it. So if your men are not able to structure the ideologies, what are the women perpetuating? Whatever they've been invaded with. And of course, we know that it's white supremacy, and it's only going to get worse. But anyway, so let's get back to this topic. Rogue hoes, how they exist. A rogue hoe is pretty much a woman who turned her back on being led. She believes that the way that she does things and the way that she can do them is the optimum way to live life. But a lot of these women are not safeguarded. This comes from the reason why there is a lot of rogue hoes in the real world. I mean, in the underworld as well, is because of the same reason why there is a lot of rogue hoes in the actual world. This is a mentality rather than a status. When I talk about rogue hoes, I'm not necessarily talking about women who are selling their thing for some money, right? I'm just talking about women who are selling themselves for an ideology, because that's essentially what's happening. That's no different than a parallel from the underworld. They're selling themselves to an ideology for pretty much crumbs. What a pimp gives, this is understood. I hope this is understood, because it's the same thing that I tell my submissive, same shit. She gives me all of her money. And a lot of women, and including her friends, they look at her crazy and they're like, well, why do you do that? And what's the big deal? And, why, what are you getting out of this? And anytime anything goes bad, you're just left, without any support. And she simply tells him, he provides everything. There's nothing I want, nothing that I care to have that he doesn't provide. And that's the truth. But here's the thing. I also provide something that cannot be bought with money necessarily. I mean, the money supplements things, but at the same time, a lot of the money goes towards her own caretaking. But regardless, there's something else that she's paying for as well. And she gives me the intangible for the tangible. And the intangible is her submission and her femininity. And I give her knowledge. I teach her. You think you guys get to hear the lectures that I have? I mean, I give her at least 2 to 3 lectures a day. And this is information that will stick with her for the rest of her life. And there's nothing, I talk positivity. I tell you how to focus yourself, how to focus the reality so that you can see not just the abstract, but you can also see the clear detail of your environment. This is what I'm cultivating in my submissive as well. The same ideology. I'm getting her to see the world in a clear sense. She's already told me, and she said several times, even on my channel, that she can never look at the world the same again. The reason why she can't is because I gave her the focus, the right aperture to see the world for what it is, and to not just see the abstract, but to see the great details that explains the story that you already know, but never understood. But anyway, she is not in tune with understanding rogue women, just like rogue women are not in tune with understanding her. But I understand them. I've dealt with both. I've dealt with submissive women. I've dealt with non-submissive women. This is why I can tell you guys exactly what you should and shouldn't do, and how to approach these things, and what to do in these circumstances and that circumstances, because I've been through this stuff already several times around the block. Right? So the reason why I tell you guys that you should not, just like my other video, I tell you guys that you shouldn't deal with these snakes. And I tell you that majority of women, unfortunately, are snakes, because I know these women. Snakes is no different than rogue women, because they do not follow a set standard under their men's leadership, especially the BWs, right? And these are the most unpredictable and dangerous women, the women that do not have a set of standards that they unifiedly fall under men, because if they're not working under us, who are they working under? Because we know they're working for someone. Remember that women were put here to do a job, regardless of what they want to do with their lives, regardless of what society said that they can be or can't be, power to the women, black girl magic, all that crazy crap. No matter what society pumps into them, it does not change what their purpose is. No matter the fact that a large portion of the black women that were brought to the United States were used in order to reprocreate more slaves. It did that just because the white man perverted what her intended purpose was, doesn't mean her purpose is no longer more. That's not how it works. Her purpose will always be, no matter how many generations have came, no matter how many generations will go, her purpose will always be the same. And her purpose is to serve her man. Period. That's her purpose. So any woman who falls outside of that is a rogue woman, in my opinion. And I view her as that because, once again, she has turned her back on the leadership of her men, because she believes that society has given her everything and will give her everything that she wants in order to be successful in her life. But the thing is, men, we think more further down the line. It's so strange that the powers are backwards, but they complement each other. That's how it's supposed to be. This is the reason why we have man and woman, because we're supposed to complement each other in our purpose, right? Without man, a woman has no purpose. And without woman, a man cannot further his purpose in regards to his procreation of generations. His procreation through women of generations. He can't do that. So we need each other. But the reason why I say that these things are reversed is because a man destroys a generation, but a woman destroys many generations. But guess what? Men, we have the ability to foresee many generations, but women can only see a generation ahead. Isn't that crazy? How it should be, and I'm not God, so, but it should be, if you have the ability to destroy many generations, shouldn't you also have the ability to see many generations ahead? But the reason, once again, why we're called complementary is because when we work together, we can fine tune those abilities to the betterment of the generation at current, and also the generation in the future. When we are not together, then we cannot do these things. All we are seeing right now is the decadence of the individual. We're not seeing the decadence of the generations. It doesn't exist, especially not in the Black community. People would say that we're getting better. We own this, we have this much money, blah, blah, blah. We own this much land. But are we better as a people? I don't think so. I think since the time that we've been here up until now, things have gotten a little better, but not so much noticeably better. We're still seen as the slave class around the world, and that's how it's been for the past 400 plus years. Go somewhere who knows about America and ask them, who is the slave class, and are they still in bondage? You'll see your answer, right? But the thing is, us being so close to the fire, we don't know that there's anything cooler, or there's a different perspective per se. So we see things as they are. We understand our condition as men to a degree, and as women to a degree. But the problem is we can't agree on what our condition should be, which is where I'm coming from. As long as the women remain obstructive to what the man's direction is and purpose is, there'll never be any community, period. I mean, I call it a community because that's what we're supposed to be, but you can't really call it a community because in community, that means cooperation. You can't have a community without cooperation, unless you plan on building a society based on anarchy. That's the only time, stateless society. And that's kind of what Black people are. Sure, we have state, but our ideology is stateless. And especially the Black woman, her ideology is stateless. She believes that she is autonomous unto herself and that everyone else is beneath her, when in reality, she's at the bottom, even amongst Black men, even amongst her own men. That's the truth of the matter. And this is not me saying that that's where she belongs, because we know where we belong. We know where we should be, but we are not there. And she believes that as long as she can pull herself to the top, everybody else doesn't matter. That's the problem. Remember, she has a short-sightedness as a woman. She can only see a generation ahead, but she destroys many into her decisions. That's the problem. That's why she needs a man's leadership. When a pimp takes on a woman, he takes on the woman who chooses him, because that tells him that she's going to make the investment necessary for her to obtain the knowledge that he has. A lot of people don't understand what is a woman paying a man for in regards to those two types. What is she getting out of it? Is it protection, provision? Yes, but it's not in the way that you think, because the knowledge that he gives her is the protection. The knowledge that he gives her is the provision. These are the things that are necessary in order to maintain her longevity in the game and what she chose to do. See, a lot of these women, they think that if they go up under white supremacy and they side with the gynocracy, that this is the best position that they have. Little do they know that they're being fed nothing but lies. And it's unfortunate that the older women are not telling the younger women this, that my life is not the way that I was told that it was going to be. And I am an older woman without children, or who has never been married, and I am lonely. And this sucks. Yes, I have cars. Yes, I have a house. Yes, I have a successful career, but none of these things mean anything to me. The women are not telling these younger women that. So we have a society perpetuated in nothing but rogue hoe mentality. Just because, once again, just because these women are not selling sex doesn't mean they're not rogue hoes. That's exactly how I see them. That's exactly how I've been seeing them. Because the minute that you decide that there is something better, that you leading yourself or society telling you what you should do and you following that is better than your own man's leadership, you're a rogue hoe. But anyways, like, comment, and share. Check me out on Facebook. Check me out on Patreon. Until next time, this has been a Wolf and Beta Close. May you have a good day, and peace be with you.